Hi everybody, welcome to the Think Global Awards. You're very welcome, we're delighted you could join us here today. This is only our second year of doing the awards, and I've been telling a few people outside that I thought it was a great idea to do the same awards in Menlo Park, California today as well, which was a great idea at the time, but not so sure. But we do have a team of people doing the awards in California today, so we're quite excited about that. Just before we get going today, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been involved behind the scenes, because I'm sure people in the room, you've been involved in these kind of things before, and there's one or two things you have to take care of. So thank you to everybody who's been helpful in getting us to this. I'm not going to go through anything else about the Think Global Forum. We've got some wonderful speakers, but I'm going to introduce our MC for today, Declan Brennan. Declan's going to be taking us through proceedings today. He's our Master of Ceremonies. So over to you, Declan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon, and you are all very welcome to the Think Global Awards Europe, an oasis of certainty in the midst of its obverse in the wider world that you've just escaped from for a few hours. A certainty, or at least finding interesting, innovative, and successful ways of avoiding its absence, is perhaps one of the things that Think Global Forum is all about. I know that it's going to be something that our speakers will touch on in some shape or form as they invite us briefly into their world and share some aspects of their worldview with us. And I'm certain that it is part of the awards presentations this afternoon, and certainly part of what contributed to the winners getting to this room today. So the Think Global Forum and the awards, together, they form a thought leadership community here, and as Simon has mentioned, in the United States as well, that hosts events and conferences and thought leadership sessions across Europe and also the United States of America. And it's proudly sponsored and supported by Vistatec, by Vistatalks, and also VTQ magazine. I'd like to welcome especially our VIP guests. I've only met some of them so far, but you will all be meeting them during the course of the day. But also forum executives and members of the Think Global Forum team to the awards presentation today. As Simon said, it's only the second year of these awards, and they're presented here in Europe and also in the United States. And we have with us today some of the shortlisted entrants and, of course, the winners, who will be announced after lunch. Keep the suspense going. The forum itself, the Think Global Forum, is an initiative which brings together global executives and also experts from a wide array of industries. Its purpose is to pursue or to explore insights and also thought leadership around the world. The awards is really an extension of the forum, and it celebrates excellence in thinking globally. The awards are about recognizing achievements, not only by individuals, but also in communities, in startup businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, global brands, and also large international organizations, some of which are here with us today. I'd like to introduce our first speaker today, the Chief Executive of Vistatec, who's going to formally, I'm the informal part, he's the formal part of the opening, Thomas Murray. And Tom joined Vistatec in 2000, and 5 years later became its Chief Executive Officer in 2005. But he had a life before Vistatec, and that... And his experience in that life.
Those people are here today.
And those people or what he did in that life, if you like, and his work with Vistatec means that he can wear with honor the badge of industry veteran, I think, Tom, isn't that right? His current role, obviously, he's responsible for strategy at Vistatec, but he's also spoken at a number of Think Global Forum events and meetings. And I'd like to invite him to open the Think Global Awards today. Tom.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Declan for stealing half my speech. Thanks very much. I'd like to welcome everyone here today, particularly our speakers, John Rudd from Swim Ireland, the National Performance Director, Kevin O'Donnell, Director of Product from Nitro, and Noreen Hegarty from The Lonely Planet. As Declan mentioned, the impetus for these awards grew out of Vistatec's Think Global Forum initiative. And the purpose of that forum was to bring together the people involved in globalization across various industry verticals in a non-sales format, and that is quite genuinely how Vistatec feels about the forums. And I think the fact that they've been so successful is in a large part down to the fact that we don't bring people in here and give them the hard sell. We really want to provide a contribution in terms of thought leadership to this concept of globalization. It's really difficult actually to underestimate the importance and the universal impact that this concept of globalization has had on business and personal, all aspects of our lives. As a phenomenon, it has facilitated the creation of global brands, global iconic brands, in business terms, overnight. Right? If we go back, over the years, you would have had major regional players, but the idea of, global brands around the planet has really been facilitated by this concept of globalization. But the period in which they can become global has gotten shorter and shorter in a phenomenal way. So this concept of globalization is vitally important for us to understand and to try to influence. But it's equally interesting that the paradigm or the concept has actually also been turned on its head. And we've also seen where this methodology or this idea of globalization has been used by individuals, okay, to hold these global brands to account on occasions, to change political thought, to change attitudes. And so as a concept, it's not all about, global businesses being created. It can actually be turned on its head, and the individual can actually use it very successfully to change things on a global level. So as I said, this idea of globalization impacts literally everyone on the planet, whether they know it or not, right? Now, people in a lot of instances will feel that the idea of globalization really doesn't have much to do with them, but it does. Maybe they just don't realize it. As Declan said, this is the second year of the awards, and the purpose of the awards is to call out those individuals, brands, companies, non-profits, however, to give them the recognition that they deserve for their contribution to this concept of globalization and the idea of thinking globally. As Declan mentioned, the event is being run simultaneously, or almost simultaneously, with our colleagues in Silicon Valley in the US. However, those of you old enough to remember Live Aid, nobody is flying out there this afternoon, I can assure you. This year we've put in a few new categories. Declan mentioned startups. Okay, a startup, isn't necessarily the ideal target, say, for the likes of Vistatec, but it is a nod to where all the global brands started, okay? They all started in a garage somewhere, okay? But they managed the globalization process very well, so we think it's important to kind of bring that in. We've also added a community award, which focuses mainly on individuals and non-profits. The level of interest in the awards and the forums is actually a source of great pride to us at Vistatec. In a lot of cases, a lot of surprises, I can tell you. The concept of the forums and the awards really have gotten a life of their own. And as I mentioned to some of you earlier on in the networking sessions, when you put these people together across the various verticals, the willingness to share experience and share information is quite surprising. Actually, sometimes it's very difficult to get them to shut up, right? All people want is validation and understanding, right? That what they're doing on their globalization adventure has a basis in reality and a prospect of success. And they really do want to share, okay? It's not a proprietary thing. Maybe that's a human aspect. This year, we've had nominations from every continent as far as Dubai, back to India, and everywhere in between. So we're very happy about that. The fact is, globalization is a game changer in people's and businesses' lives, right? And it cannot be switched off. It's not going to go backwards, right? Consumers won't allow that, right? They want parity of treatment. They want parity of service across the globe, and it's visible to them if they don't get it. And if they don't get it, they will move on to the next brand. So for good or bad, or whether we like it or not, the concept of globalization and thinking global is here to stay, and we must face that. The awards and the events are something that we at Vistatec are very proud of. We are determined that we keep them meaningful and impactful for those of us involved in that industry. It's about thought leadership and how we can best influence that concept of going global. And the best way to do that is to get people to think global. So that's why we're all here today. Okay. Thank you all very much for your time. Enjoy yourself.